I Sorry, if you can hear me, please do let me know. Hi, can you hear me? Just type in the chat. Just drop a message if you can hear me. Okay, I think there's a thumbs up. Okay, hi, good to have you here today, and I am so sorry because it's supposed to start by 5 p.m., right? But I had to go for a tech event here in Kwara State, and that's the first. So I'm just coming in right now, and there was a little delay on the road. So, how are you doing? So I would love to know what you are looking up to, to learn today. You can just type in what's your expectation, what is your goal at the end of the program, like at the end of today's session. What are you willing to learn? What do you want to learn better? Is it about writing? Is it about crafting a better CV for that particular role you're applying for, or anything you feel like your expectation at the end of the session today, and it's going to be more conversational. So trust me about that. So kindly introduce yourself in the chat as well. Let me know the people that are here. Let's have a little conversation before we start formally by the next 2 minutes. Yes. So kindly introduce yourself. Let me know your name and which country you're joining from. Yeah. Hi, Ifeoma. You're the first person that typed a hi. Okay. Nice to have you here. Okay. So please let's keep that coming. I would like to on the light so that the reflection can be more better than this. Give me a few seconds. I'm coming. Yeah. I think it's more better now. Okay. So okay, my name is Ifeoma. I'm joining from Nigeria. Okay, hi Ifeoma and Damilola from Nigeria. Beatrice from Ghana. Hi Beatrice. Hi Gloria. So nice to have everyone here today. I think we are joining better now. People are joining. So am I audible enough? Can everyone hear me better? Hi, Olamide from Nigeria. Yes, okay, good. So this is our another episode. The first one I was able to talk about personal branding in general. So if you actually missed that, you can go to this YouTube channel and you're going to see the recording here on what we covered about branding, personal branding in general. Because even before you get to the aspect of building your CV for that particular role, you need to have that personal brand for yourself. Do you get? You need to learn how to, make that post online, even if it's not post, but a good review about yourself wherever you go to, or whether physical or online. What do people know about you? What are you doing? Do you get? Before they can say, okay, I feel like having your CV, please send in your CV to me. So if you miss that aspect, please go back to the YouTube channel and listen to the personal branding. So yeah, today we're going to be discussing about CV, how you need to like elevate your CV better to attract that particular role you are dreaming of. So I'm going to be starting by sharing my screen, but before that, let me introduce myself. And if you're part of us the first time, let me know. Can you just like type if you were here the first time? Just type hi, just each hi, so that I can know whether I have people from the previous session here. So just type hi if you're part of. Yes, okay. I think Fema, you were here the first time, so you could notice my glasses has changed, right? Okay, fine. So today we're going to be discussing about CV, right? So I'm going to be sharing my screen very soon. Um Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, Beatrice was also here the first time. All right, great. And I'm going to share my screen and also introduce myself once again for those that's just joining. So, hi everyone. I don't know if you can see my screen better now. Please kindly let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, great. So let me present this better for us to be able to see. Okay, yeah. You're talking about turning your experiences into a winning CV. Hi, my name is Taufik Kobilu, and I'm a multidisciplinary designer with experience across AI, SaaS, fintech, edtech, and Web3. So my design-led strategies has helped startups achieve over 67 percentage revenue through growth, innovative and user-centric solution. So I'm also the founder of AdTech Africa. So everybody say, yeah, AdTech Africa. So let me see if there's still, yeah. Okay, so let me continue that. Um okay. So that's just basically about me and understanding what a CV really means. So let's start from this angle. What do we mean by CV? Like, it sometimes it is called resume as well. You can call it CV, you can call it resume. You are saying the same thing, right? So we need to understand what CV is in the first place before we go into how you can have a better CV. So understand what a CV really is that CV isn't just about years of experience, because most of the time people see CV or resume as, oh, it's just about you listing out your experience about work or years of your life doing that particular career, but it is more than that, right? So your CV is a story, not just a document. So it's not just a one-page document or two pages document. It is your story. You are trying to tell your story in a written form. We have portfolio, right? And we have CV. Portfolio will showcase your work, that can it's just like you showing workings, right? But CV is a particular document. I'm not saying it is not just like I mentioned, yeah, it is not just a document, but it is like a written document format that you need to show your experience, tell your story in a very nice way. So that is what CV is all about. So you need to get that aspect that it is not just a document that you will just list out your years of experience. It's about showing impact. So a CV goes beyond a job list. Like I mentioned, some people they feel like, oh, I just need to like list out my experience. And some people that don't even have experience feel like, what am I going to even write here? Right? I don't need a CV because I don't have any years of experience. Mind you, you have, right? So it narrates your journey, showcasing skills and experiences that solve problems and create value, aligning with what employers truly seek in a candidate. So if you're applying for a role, there is some AI tools that they normally use to scan people's CV. If what you put, they are not seeing the keywords for that particular job role, that leads to an automatic disqualification, right? That is where you will see sometimes. I don't know if there are some of us here that have applied for a role, and in the next, you apply for the role right now, and in the next 3 minutes, they will send a message back to you that we are so sorry. Unfortunately, how did they normally put that thing? So that's how they already use AI to scan your CV, and they are not seeing that keywords they are looking for. So I'm going to be taking that aspect of how you can tailor a CV to that particular role you're applying for. So employers aren't only looking for titles, they're looking for evidence that you can learn, solve problems, and add value. You need to sell yourself through your CV. You need to tell your story through your CV. And I'm not saying that you should start writing like you are writing an episode or this thing. No, there is a pattern where you are going to be using to write your CV. I'm thankful for a lot of we thanks we think we want to like give a thanks to God and for all these AI tools that we have right now that can make our work. AI is not ready to take anybody's job, mind you. Is here to make every one of us to have more productivity, to make us to be able to like act fast. We don't need to have the stress of doing some things now. With AI, you can do it anything very fast. So I'm going to show us how we can also prompt our AI on creating a tailoring generated CV for that particular role. So a CV highlights your growth, skills, and impact. It's your personal marketing tool. Like I mentioned, you are marketing yourself, you are selling your value through your CV. So it tells people what value you bring. So from that angle, we are going to move into the experience aspect. you have experience, because this is I because when we did that poll on the group, most of people were like, oh, I don't have experience, like most of the issue, because I went through it myself. So the stuff was like, oh, I don't have much experience, I don't think I have anything I can share or put in my CV, right? So that is why we're going to move into this angle. Let me share this again. So this aspect is, you have experience. That's one thing I want you to know. You have experience. Even if you think you don't, you have that particular experience. What do I mean by that? You're somebody that just started your journey in rabbit tech or this thing. But so far as you are an adult, right? Even if you're in your teen era, like 17, 18, that doesn't mean you haven't done anything for your life. Do you get? But there are some things that we've already normalized. Like we feel like, oh, it's just there, we just did it normally. But mind you, they are your experience. So that's why I listed this out, for us to know that we have experience, and you can also have a CV, even if you don't have a job experience in that field you are looking up to. One of the things you can add to your CV, experience comes from project, school project or assignment. If you are, there was a time in school or in even secondary school that you will do some community work, or they will group us together and do something, all those things, they are experience that you have. You just need to know how to write them better, so that it will not look like, oh, it's university or it's a school project. There's a way you can write it so that it will look like something in a professional way. Let me put it that way. They are your experience. You have experience, like I mentioned. So volunteering and community work, like I mentioned. For example, you might have volunteered for even in school, there are some people that do these activities that they volunteer for manual. I think this thing too. This there's some Red Cross. Yes, you volunteer for Red Cross in your school. You help them to manage the transportation in the school. You did those things. For example, probably you own a this thing, what's it called? You own a post in your school. It's also part of experience, right? So online courses or boot camp. So if you've ever attended any online course, you can put them there, but there's a way you can write it that it will not seem like a normal experience. For example, you did that online course. If each of these online courses or boot camp, you will surely be given some assignment to do. You can add those things as your achievement. You can have those things as your experience. For example, you did a UI/UX design boot camp. At the end, you were asked to work in a group with people to design a website or a full mobile application. That is an experience. You have the experience to work with team. You have the experience of leadership. If you might be the team role, you have the experience of that particular work. You're able to do it from A to Z. So you have experience. So leadership in clubs, what you were able to solve as well. So leadership in clubs or events, I've already mentioned this. Then there's some so people feel like, oh, what the only thing you can have in your CV is just work experience. No, you need to start from somewhere. You need to start from that your personal projects that you've done. So that's why most of the time I always lay emphasis on personal projects. So now let's move to the aspect of the sources of experience. How do you source for this experience? Like I mentioned, from school project. So it helps you to showcase your ability to collaborate and solve problems, like I mentioned. You collaborated with some other classmates. Yes. So it is an experience. You're able to solve that particular problem. So that they really reflect your dedication to learning and applying knowledge. So you learn along the skill, you apply the knowledge you learned, and you demonstrated those skills that can be a beneficial in that particular professional context. So another thing you can add is your volunteering role, whether you've done a volunteering role for any community before. Because there was a time people feel like, when I was at one of the, what's it called, when I was at the core team at GDSC, University of Ilorin, that's Google Developer Student Club. So there was this time we were having issue with our team. Yeah, I think I was the co-lead then. So we are having the issue with our team that time. They were like, oh, you don't need to stress me too much because I'm just volunteering. I was like, okay, you're just volunteering. You don't know what you are holding. Imagine putting it on your CV that you were able to do this particular stuff. You were able to have the skill of teamwork, leadership with a Google community. That is a big stuff to be always underrate, right? A lot of things like that that we feel like, oh, it's just volunteering role. No, it's not just volunteering role. That is why if you don't have those experience yet, it's also a best way for you to start with something. Start with volunteering. It really pays because at the end, nobody cares whether you are being paid or not. They need those skills from you. They need that teamwork. They need the leadership. They need problem solving skill. That is what employers value very well. So online courses like I also mentioned earlier. Then the aspect of this. So yeah, let's get to this. But before I read this out, I want to confirm if everyone is still here with me. So if you are still here with me, you can just like thumb up, or you drop this any of this emoji. Uh, without love, without represent, flower, laughing emoji. So let me just see that. Let me see that coming, so that I'll know if I can proceed or not. Can I proceed? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So let me continue. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Um. So I want everyone to do this activity. Yeah. I want everyone to do this activity. So you need to have this interactive moment, and I want everyone list 3 things you've done that you are proud of. You might do it now, you might do it later. But I want us to like take these few seconds. Think of that 3 things, just 3 you've done that you're actually very proud of. You can list it out here, you can list it privately, anyone works. Just make sure this is and like a more or less like an assignment for you. So please just note this down. You need to just like list 3 things you've done that you are really proud of. You can sit down and think about it. It might just be anywhere. It might even just be an assignment that you've done before, right? Just list them out. So this makes me to move to the next thing. So the next thing we're going to be discussing about is make your experience sound professional. Like I mentioned, you might have done something before and you just feel like, oh, this thing is just there. I don't think I can even use it. Oh, you can use it. So writing a professional resume or CV that can work better, you have a formula. And the formula is action plus task plus results. What does that mean? The action you take. What was the action? I'm using this as an example. This is the before, this is the after. I want us to solve this formula, use this formula to solve the problem. What is it? I said the formula for you to have a profession, to make your experience to sound like a professional one, is to do use this formula action plus task plus result. So I'm going to be using this as an example. So this is the before. You just list like, okay, I worked on projects. Yeah, you worked on projects. What type of project did you work on? What was the success rate? When you're creating a CV, you need to make sure that you had your measurable achievement. We call it measurable achievement. That is numbers. Employers are always looking for that. They get more attracted to that. There was one particular time I was job hunting very desperately. That time, I don't know about how to write a better CV. Anytime I apply for different roles, I don't even get a yes or no. I don't even get anything, to say that, oh, you want to qualify to the next stage. I don't even get up to that. Do you get? Mind you, like I mentioned, most of the time I apply for jobs, I don't actually usually get it. But then, you know, at that time I felt like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. But later on, when I found the secret, which is this formula to CV writing, that's when I started getting invited for interview. That means it took me from a zero stage to another stage, right? So if you're writing a CV, make sure you have that action, you have your task, and you have your result. So what does that mean? Your action, what were you able to do? Look at this after. Led a team. That is a task. Then that is the action. I mean, you led a team. Okay, that is an action. Task in a successful design project is the task. That is what you were able to do. In a successful design project, that means you did not just work on projects, you worked on design projects. If it is a company work, you can just name that particular company or industry. For example, I led a team, I led a design team to work on a logistic application. I've talked about my tasks, I've talked about my action. The last thing is your result. Okay, you worked on it. What happened at the end? That's where you now talk about your results. To improve user engagement in 30 percentage. You see this 30 percentage, it will take you far. That's another thing. That is exactly what employers always look up to. This percent, these numbers. So if you're writing, sometimes you will feel like, what if I couldn't measure the achievement myself? It happens sometimes, but mind you, there's nothing you cannot measure. That is when, for example, there was a time I worked on a project. It was a project and they never launched the startup till now. There will be a time you might find yourself in that kind of position where you will just be working with them and eventually they will not even still launch till you leave them till now. But you were able to do something that you're actually very proud of, right? So at that point, all what you just need is just list it out. What were you able to do? Okay. Let me just give an example of development. Okay. You can just like, okay, I developed, for example, let me just use, okay, I developed a um a fintech application. I developed a fintech application which um okay, which solved the problem. You can just name the problem, or you talk about the engagement. It was not launched, so you cannot put it there like, okay, used by 2,000 users. That's a very good result, but you cannot put it because it was not launched. That's why you cannot put this there, because it's an assumption. What you were able to do, you are very confident with it that it will increase the users engagement. Fine, you can write it there, right? You can put it there. You were able to measure the achievement through the task and the action that you made, and I'm very proud of it. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, you might not get the total result sometimes, but at least you worked, right? You worked on it and you're able to, to do something. So that is how you write a professional experience. You need to make sure, like I mentioned, put your action, put your task, and put your results. So the next thing is this. I'm going to talk about this little quote. Like, everyone has valuable experiences to share. It's time to recognize and embrace your unique journey. This will take me back to that interactive moment assignment I gave us. So mind you, you might feel like, oh, what do I even remember this? Everyone has valuable experiences to share. It's time for you to recognize and embrace your unique journey. So that lead me to this transiting experiences. So this one, we are going to talk about the achievement statement. We're going to talk about the example transformation. So what do really this really mean? Like how are you going to translate your experience? So achievement statement effectively even communicates your contributions and impact. So use the formula of action, task, and result like I mentioned. You can clearly express what you did. You can clearly express what you did, like I mentioned. You say the tasks you involved in, but the measurable achievement or the outcome might be giving you a little each because you might not be able to measure it yourself. But mind, like I mentioned, you can assume like how you were able to solve it as a problem solver, how it was able, mind you, those assumptions will just be in the terms of conversion ratio, the engagement they might actually get, but you can't assume for the amount of users that use the product. No, that means you're telling them the product has been launched. So they will surely ask you, where can I download the product? Do you get? So you need to be very mindful of that, but it's very, very nice to put number. Sometimes you might not, the measurable achievement can just be the number of the team you worked with. It doesn't have to be like, oh, every experience you are listing out, you are putting in the what's it called? You are putting in every measurable achievement for everything. No, there are sometimes you just need to put a number of the team. For example, you worked with a development team, you work with product management team, you work with the engineering team in general. So all those team, you can just put the list of the numbers there. Like, okay, you work with the a cross-functional team with like 11 numbers or something to achieve this, to do this, you know, those things is also like they just need those numbers so that they can know that you're somebody that is not playing here. You're actually carrying out all these activities you're talking about. So this approach not only highlights your effort, but also illustrates how they benefit and the employers that are actually reviewing your CV. So it also makes your CV to stand out in a competitive job market. So that is another way for you to stand out. You need to make sure that you are putting in a measurable achievement. You are using the formula I just mentioned. So transforming description into concrete achievement statement is very, very crucial. So for instance, instead of saying helped with a project, you might say led a team to complete a project 2 weeks ahead of schedule. You can see how this one sound. Like I mentioned, the two, yeah, is also number, is a measurable achievement. That is, you worked in a very fast way. You were able to achieve this within this certain duration. It is what they look up to. Like I mentioned, it doesn't have to be numbers like, oh, users and this thing. The time you use to solve that problem too is something. So led, instead of you saying helped with a project, you might say led a team to complete a project 2 weeks ahead of the schedule. It's telling the employer that you are a very fast person. You can work in a fast-paced environment. So this change emphasizes leadership and showcases the tangible results of your effort, making your experience more compelling and relevant to the potential employers. So that is how that works. And what are the things, the beginner friendly CV structure? How are you going to structure your CV? So that's what you're going to look at now. And before that, I would like to confirm. Okay, three things I'm proud of. Okay, so let's do this. Um, let me stop sharing first. Okay, so three things I'm proud of. One, joined an outreach recently for kids. Makes sense. So if you're writing this in the experience, how are you going to write it? You're not just going to say, okay, I joined an outreach recently for kids. How many kids do you get? If you had that number, like I mentioned, put the action there. What's the first thing? The action. What was the action? What were you able to do during the outreach? For example, you helped in coordinating, you helped in managing the program. You can just say, um, I managed the program for an outreach. You can just mention where you went to, right? For a so outreach, which were able to empower 2,000 or 1,000 kids. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So you already put your action, you put your tax, and you also put your achievement. Those are the kids. They are your achievements, right? What were they able to learn after you finish the outreach? So another thing is I went for a road walk for the first time. So that really makes sense. You wait for the road work. So you can add this as part of your achievement later, because it cannot be in your experience. Do you get? Because they feel like this is supposed to be your personal stuff. Sometimes they usually look up to your personal experience, like, okay, apart from this particular job you are doing, what else can you do? They want that woman feeling, right? They want people to be able to like feel themselves with, different things. So you can add it to your, there's this particular side in CV, you're going to get there, where you can put in what you what's it called, what you actually what you can do aside that particular role. So you can put it there like, okay, you love to see nature, so that you get more experience from seeing that nature. Do you get? You have to just make sure that it's aligned with that particular role. So, and I finished a course. Okay, you finished a course, so you can write about the course, like what we're able to learn from it. Like I mentioned, those things are your experience. You can put in your CV. So another thing, okay, Olamide said, things I'm proud of. I learned a baking skill. I finished a work task without help. Okay, taking this bold step of learning this new skill. Perfect. So out of this, it's not everything you can put in your CV, right? But that I learned a baking skill, you can add it there that you have another special skill, right? This might, for example, if you're applying for a company that what they do is they produce, they deal with baking and everything. If you had those things as your aside role, for example, you're applying for a manager there, but you having this as your side role, it gives them that opportunity that, oh, this person understand us, this person understand our field. It gives you more leverage. It makes you stand out among others. Do you get? So there's nothing about our skill, there's nothing about our experience that is not valuable. So we just need to know how to position them and write them in a professional way better. So taking this bold step, okay, so Abiba said trying an entirely different path. Yes, joining a team. Yeah. Joining a team, that's a very nice thing. So you need to make sure that you are not just joining a team, you are giving them value so that you can have something to write in your CV. So taking up an assigned role. Perfect. Well done. So Gloria, I went on a school outreach to create awareness about bullying and mental health. Perfect. You see, and you say you don't have experience. These are experience. So you need to just like know how, like I mentioned, how to write a professional experience in your CV. So make sure you use the formula, the action plus result plus the action plus the your task plus the result. Yes. So let me continue now. Let me share my screen again. Um, okay, so this let me check this out. Okay, so we are going to be going into the aspect of beginner friendly CV structure. So what does this really mean? The key elements to include in your CV that you are trying to write. The first thing is your header. So your CV header should include your name and your contact. Mind you, if you are putting in contact, they're not saying you should put like two numbers, phone numbers, this thing. So the things they are going to be adding to your contact, one is your the link, how they can easily reach out to you, your email address. One. Another thing you can add there is, for example, if you have a LinkedIn account, yes, you can add the link to your LinkedIn. The third thing is your phone number, but the phone number depends on, you need to tailor your resume to any particular job you're applying for. So another thing is the profile summary. So we are going to get into the aspect of where I will show you how a perfect CV is supposed to look like. So where you can put your profile summary. So this one is just like highlighting your professional background, your key skills. Not that there is no particular place you can put all your skills, but just your key skills, so that it can actually like tailor it to reflect your career goals and specific roles you're actually applying for. Do you get? So the aspect, another key element is your skills. So you need to list out your relevant skills that align with the job description. So that means you need to tailor your resume to any type of job you're applying for. So another thing is the experience section. So I already mentioned how you can put in your experience. You need to make sure that it's focused on responsibilities, skills developed, showcasing your impact. That is what the potential employers really, really focus on. The impact. They don't just want to see, oh, this is what you do. Do you get? So another thing is the aspect of the education and certificate. So you need to list out your educational background, like relevant degrees that you have, the institution you've attended, whether it is a online profile courses that you take and everything. So another aspect is the achievement. So you need to put out your notable achievements and extracurricular activities. So this is where you can list out something else that you do aside the what's it called? Aside the norm. Yes. So when you're crafting a CV, your introduction, your strong profile summary showcases your unique strengths and relevant skills. So you need to make sure that it provides a concise snapshot of who you are, effectively highlighting your value to potential employers in just a few lines. So this is talking about your summary. It really, really matters. So the mistakes that people make when trying to write a CV. One page. You need to make sure that your CV as a beginner is just one page. It doesn't have to be more than a page. So the quality of the achievement, that is why we focused on. That's why I just mentioned about the formula. So you need to make sure that experience are listed in a professional way. So another thing is the correct contact info because they need to be able to reach out to you via your CV. So make sure that you double check those contacts before you put them there. Another thing, because when we are even selecting for our current Grow 3, they may mention, my team told me about there are some people that we couldn't reach out to because they put in a wrong email address there. So you need to focus on that. Make sure you are double checking anything you are trying to do. So tailoring summaries, you need to make sure that you are tailoring your CV to that particular role you're applying for. Those are the common mistakes. People just feel like I don't know whether people are just too lazy to go back to that CV and tailor it better. So we need to make sure that you're not making those mistakes. Another thing is consistency. You need to make sure that the format of your font styles you are using is consistent across the page. So another thing is you need to avoid vague statements. So you need to make sure that you are very clear with what you are putting on the CV. And that got me to this aspect of financial final tips and resources. So you need to enhance your CV journey. How do you want to do that? Regularly update your CV. You need to make sure that this is a tech feed or any field you're applying for. It is saturated. How will you able to stand out is by tailoring your CV to that particular role, right? So another thing is customizing for each application and utilize online tools. You need to make sure you are using the online tools to perfect your application because there are some application stuff that some people usually put that the AI that always help them to review the CV we not even see the CV because of the way it was written. So me myself, I use Canva to write my CV. So remember that your journey is a company story worth in sharing. So this is going to take me to different tools that you can use to write your CV. We are going to be demonstrating one now. So which I'm going to be using Canva for. But these are the list of CV tools that you can use to write your CV. I use Canva a lot. So you can use Canva. I've heard about Kick Resume because I have people that have already used it before. Can check them out and also Flow CV. So and yeah, thank you so much. Your journey is worth sharing actually. So we need to celebrate together. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be going to the aspect of how we can now use Canva to write our CV. So let me check this out first. Okay, things I'm proud of going on medical outreach. Great. I'm creating video edits and graphic design. Nice. So that means you're not just a graphic designer, you can also edit videos, right? So it's something that you should be very proud of and something you can put in your CV. So I have a question, ma'am. All right. For the education background, what if you are still an undergraduate student, can you still put like primary? No, no, it depends on the particular CV you are writing. Like I mentioned, you need to tailor your CV to different roles. So people, there's this particular way that we normally write our CV that we know our parents do write their CV. And that was if you are looking for a civil servant role. That is, you're working with the government. So they will ask you to like put your from primary school to that's educational CV. Mind you, it is different. If you are applying for a government role or a private sector that is not a tech field, there is a way they normally write the CV. They usually focus on the aspect of education. So if you're writing the CV, they will ask you to write your primary school, your secondary school, your university, the extracurricular activities that you've done, all those things. That's aside. But if you are writing a CV for a tech role, whether even a content creator role, even if it is a sales representative role, there is a way you write your CV. Not adding your primary school, your secondary school, those things doesn't count at all. So before I move to the aspect of questions, to answer those questions better, yeah, please keep dropping your questions here. We're going to be treating everything. So keep dropping your questions while I take us on how we can use Canva to write to our CV. So if you haven't like opened your Canva before, you need to open your Canva and then sign in. So let me try to sign into Canva. You need to sign in or you sign up. So this is how Canva looks like for someone that has already signed in. I'm in already. That is why my Canva is looking like this. So you can see the place will just it's going to look this way. They already have Canva AI, which can even help you to even write your CV better. So should we prompt the AI? Okay. If we prompt the AI, all right. Let me do something. Let's prompt it. I also want to show us different this thing because the reason why I don't want us to prompt it again is the aspect of the description and every other thing. It might not fit in like the way we want the CV to be. So and the prompting and reprompting again, I don't want us to go to the aspect, but it's very nice to know how to prompt AI very well. I use it. Even the slide I just presented, it was this Canva AI that helped me to like I prompt it, so it gave me what I want. So let's go to the aspect of template. Let me just search for anything. Let me just search for CV resume. Let me see if it's going to bring that out. Great. So you can make use of their search bar. If you use their search bar, it will bring different aspects of CV for you that you can use. Mind you, they have the pro version and they have the normal version. But anyone you feel like picking, make sure it's just with one page so that you don't make that mistake. And CV, I don't see the necessary part of you adding page to a CV. I don't like it. My reason, because I usually apply for international role and before they even see my particular before they see my experience with me being a black person is already a zero. Do you get? So it depends on where the particular role you're applying for. If it's just a normal Nigerian company, of course, you can put your picture there. But I'm not a fan of adding picture to resume. That space of me adding a picture, I rather put something better inside it. So to have a professional and a better way of writing, having a CV is to make sure your CV looks like which one should we pick? The free version. This one you can use this. There's none of this that you cannot use. Do you get? So it depends on you actually, but me I'm going to be going with this first one here. Yes. So let me click on it. So when you click on the template, you can see you don't need to even stress yourself with CV when it comes to this particular Canva. By knowing how do I even want to structure it, you already have a lot of templates you can play with. So you customize the templates. So when you click on that, after signing in, please keep bringing your questions in so that we can treat your questions. So it will take you to the page. It's going to look this way. You can use your phone as well. It doesn't have to be a laptop. Canva works both on phone and this thing. So this person is a manager, right? Marketing manager. So you can see you need to put your name here very bold. You need to put your name here. You put your title here, like the way it is looking. You need to customize it better. So you can see your number, email address. I'm not a fan of address, this particular home address. Do you get? You can just put, if it is Lagos you are staying, you can just put Lagos, Nigeria. Or you can just put, if it is Kwara, I can just like Kwara, Nigeria, to get not like full address. So this link can now be your LinkedIn. If you don't have a website link, can now be your LinkedIn link that you can attach this to this. So this is very, very important because this is how they can reach out to you. Then the next thing, this person, this is the profile. So yeah, you need to put that your little summary. Like I mentioned, according to the presentation I made earlier, when you are writing your CV, your profile. So a concise profile summary highlights your professional background and key skills. Tailor it to reflect your career goals and the specific role you are applying for, making it engaging and relevant. So you need to make sure that this little stuff you are putting here, it includes your key skills. It includes your this. Let me show you guys my recent resume. My resume is 2 pages. This is the most you can have if you have a lot of experience. Like at least it's not much, or you don't want to, like, you don't want to do 1 page or 2 pages is okay. Even these 2 pages, I'm going to later reduce it to a page to get. So this is how my resume looks like. I put my name, product designer. My profile, you can see how my profile is. My profile, this I put only my email address and my LinkedIn. So my reason, like I mentioned, I'm applying for international roles. So I don't want them to see Lagos, Nigeria, or Kuala, Nigeria, so that they will not have the time to now check my profile. So you get. So that's where I move that. I'm trying to tailor my resume to what I'm applying for. If it is Nigeria, put that there, please. Because it gives you more leverage, better than people that are not in that particular country you're applying for. So the profile, my profile says this. I'm a product designer with 3 years. You can see how I bold my numbers. You need to make sure that all your numbers are very, very bold this way so that it can attract them better to see. And even if they want to use a machine to scan it, the machine can easily catch those your numbers very well. So I'm a product designer with 3+ years of experience designing user-centered, scalable digital products across fintech, AI, and edtech. You can see I put my key skills and I put my professional experience in summary. I specialize in creating intuitive cross-platform experiences that balance business goals and user needs. I'm going into the aspect of business, telling the and what's it called? Telling the people that I'm not just a product designer. I understand the business aspect for them to generate more revenue and bringing in value into their company. Do you get? So I bring a strong visual sense, a systems thinking approach, and an interactive mindset to every product I design. So I'm using this little way to summarize about me in a few sentences, what I can do and my value I'm going to be adding to their company. So that's how profile is. Another thing It's your educational aspect if you are going to go with this. For me, the next thing I listed is my work experience here. So it goes and it depends on you. Mind you, because my CV is not a one-page CV. That is why you cannot see my own education at the top. But you can add your education. It doesn't have to be if you're an undergraduate, you can add your you don't need to add don't add your primary school, your secondary school. Those things they don't count. What you can add there in your education is those skills that you've gotten from Atech Africa. If you've gotten any certificates from us, it's not like uploading your certificate to what skill did you learn, what particular, if it's a boot camp, that's what they're asking you here. If it is a boot camp, if it is a what's this thing called again, not only boot camp, um I forgot what I wanted to say. Okay, I'll remember later. So what I'm trying to say is exactly yes. If it's just online courses, these are my certification. This is my own education part. Did you see my university there? No. Did you see my secondary school, primary school there? No. Because it doesn't work with this particular role I'm applying for. They don't need those things. They don't need my educational background. They need my skill background. So that's why you can see I put my Google UX, Coursera, I put Jobberman soft skill. I put my product design certificate I've gotten from this organization. I put my AI design assistant course that I got from Udemy. So those are the things they need to see in your educational aspect. So the next thing is my work experience. So as you can see the way I listed my work experience, I put the role I did in the particular company. I put the name of the company, I put my experience from what year to what year. So I listed what I was able to do in the company. As you can see, it's not everything that has number, that has measurable achievement in this thing. So you get in quotes, like I mentioned. That's why I said if you're writing, you don't need to like put there's some experience that you cannot count. Do you get so for example, this one now, I said co-develops a scalable design system used across 5 products. I put my action there. I put my task there and I put a result. 5 products is a result. I did not put used by users and do you get? So and there is one particular one that I put the number of users that have used the product if you have it. So that is how you list out your CV. The next one I still put this experience here. Sometimes you can put the country there. Do you get? So but I feel like this my own is enough. That's why I did not put country. The country of the company. You can just be like comma the company. This one the company is in Dubai. So you can just be like comma Dubai. And this one so you can just be like comma Nigeria. And this one is a US company like comma USC ticket. So you can do it that way. And the next thing, so you can follow this person's owner. So you can see here, the person put the country name and the address of the company name and the address of the company. So you can put it like this instead of comma. You can put like this plant this in there. So the role, the year, it very matters if you're writing a work experience. So you list out your work experience like this. Mind you, this person own doesn't follow. It's just a general stuff because it's a template. So the person expecting you to write the way you're supposed to write a professional experience. So for example, this one's he said it can just be like oversee market research to identify emerging trends, customer needs, and competitor strategies. It can just be to increase the conversion rate from which increase the conversion rate of the company by 40 percentage. That is a complete experience sentence. Do you get? So that's how it's been written. So that's for the work experience. Then for the skills, you list out your key your skills here like this. So these are I listed my skills because I have a lot of skills and I need to showcase everything. And it's not even everything I put here. So I still put it. So I have to like differentiate it. My skills, my technical skills include design thinking, my email template design, conversational AI design, UX research, UX audit and usability, prototyping, and all. So my soft skills include strong leadership, active learning, teamwork, innovation, communication, all those things are soft skills. We have soft skills and hard skills, right? So I listed out my soft skills here. I put my tools that I can use better. I can use HTML, I can use CSS, I can use Figma, I can use Trello, I can use all those things. So you need to list out like, okay, in management, what are the tools you can use for management? That's why you can see Miro, you can see Notion here for me. What are the tools you use for that particular role? Figma. I use my Adobe Suite, Creative Suite in general. That's Photoshop, Illustrator, and all. What are the tools that you use when it comes to the aspect of analysis? That's why you can see Microsoft Excel. So that's how you need to make sure that you're listening. At least you list up to one, you can list 10 skills. You can generalize it. If you don't, as a beginner, you might not have all the skills I listed. That's why I'm using this as an example too. So you can see how many skills is here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven skills. You might not even have up to these, right? But anyone, just list them here. Then another thing is languages, which I don't find excuse me. So I feel it is also necessary if you feel like adding it. If you have multiple, for example, yes, it's very necessary for people applying for roles in language firm. Yes, for example, you have many skills in languages. Of course, it's very welcome. So you can just list language you can speak there. For me, the reason I not put it is because it's just my English and Yoruba I can speak. Do you get? So if I'm somebody that have like five s- languages I can speak very well, of course I can showcase because it's a win for me. So it's an achievement. So I can put it there. So I can put it there, right? I can put it there because I have five languages I can speak. It's a win. It makes me to. So you need to make sure that you are having this mindset of you are listing out what will make you to stand out in the feed because you don't know. They have thousands of people that apply for the same role. How do you want to compete with these people? Is to make sure you are putting something that can make you stand out and also tailor to the particular role you're applying for. So another thing I put there is my volunteering role. For them to see that I'm not just a product designer, I empathize with people. This also makes me to be able to understand products very well. So I listed them out here for them to see that I'm not just a human being, I'm contributing to my community as well. So I listed them here as a volunteering role. Please, as a beginner, you don't need to differentiate a volunteering role from your work role because all this they are going to be telling because if you the reason why I differentiated it is because I have experience yet. I have a lot of experience to get. So now I need to differentiate the one that is volunteering, that I'm not getting money from, and the one I'm getting money from to get. But if you're just a beginner, I advise you, please don't list volunteering experience and this thing. No, put everything together because, like I mentioned, they need those experience. They don't care whether you're being paid or not. So instead of you to now put volunteer experience, you can now put aside a product designer, comma, list what you can do. Do you get? So that I can feel this is well personalized. It's not like you just prompt one AI to write the resume for you. For example, aside being a product designer, baking, you can put those your skills there so that your CV can still like full a little bit with different things. So like I mentioned, this person puts languages, you can see. So instead of you now be like, will I now still put language? The person put language because he doesn't know what to add here again. So your own cannot be like another set of skills or another skills or aside marketing manager, then list out your other skills that you have. I don't know if I'm communicating. So that is how to write a perfect CV. And every time you get and you want to tailor your resume to a particular skill, the particular role you're applying for, the thing you need to do. Let me show you how to prompt your AI. This is a new chart. For example, this is the company. Let me just search for a role and show you how you can tailor your resume better. So, for example, Okay, let me go to the job aspect. Yeah. For example, I want to apply for this role. I don't know if everyone can still see my screen. Let me confirm. Hi, everyone. Please just drop an emoji so that I can know if you can still hear me. Am I still audible enough? I just want to confirm if my network is still good. Yes, okay, great. So, okay, if this, for example, this is a role I want to apply for, saying product designer, blah blah blah. The thing I'm going to do, I'll copy this first. I'm copying everything from this role. Yes, this is the job. First, copy the job description from the beginning to the end. Then go to your ChatGPT, paste it here. After pasting it, just do it this way. Paste it and leave it this way. Yes. So I'm giving ChatGPT a look at the particular company, the particular description, job description I want to apply for. After that, ChatGPT can suggest, do you want me to write a resume? It's saying this why because I use it, but sometimes it might not bring it for you. So the next thing you need to do is to now open this, add that your previous resume that you want to update. So let me search for my latest resume, the one I sent last. Um uh when was that? Oh, let me see if I can find it. Okay, this. So you can now upload your CV in PDF. You can now write with the job description above and my CV attached here. Tailor my resume to this role. I must get to the I actually put this so that ChatGPT can know how desperate I am. I must get to the interview stage. So this way, you already prompt the AI and tell it that you are not just joking here, so that the AI can see those keywords and help you craft a perfect resume for this role. Can just add it here. Tailor my resume to this role. Yeah, so I reviewed your resume and this in job description. Your background for product design in fintech is strong and your experience with the complex. Here's what I will do: restructure your CV for clarity, impact, and ATS optimization. So tailor all bullet points and your summary to match. This is it to match public focus on merchant operation. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is how it's going to bring it for you. It will bring in what you're supposed to put there and this thing. You don't need stress with this thing. You don't need so far as you already put your link, you already put your email address, your profile, you already bring in another profile for you that can fit in for this particular job. See any post, I already know this thing is coming from ChatGPT or any of these skills because the way the person will put it there is so always obvious. So the next thing you can do, what I normally do is I'll copy this and then I'll tell it craft this better to be more personalized, nice, human, natural, and fun or professional. Yeah. but still fit for the role. Then I put my quotation mark, I paste it here. You can see there is absolutely so different between product designer with 3 years of experience designing intuitive data rich interface for fintech. This is do you get? So this one is giving me that I'm a product designer with over 3 years of experience crafting intuitive data interface for blah blah blah. I thrive on turning complex. You can see that it is well personalized. That me just copy everything, bam. So don't let us be lazy when applying for jobs. You need to make sure that you are putting something very better in that particular. So from here you can see you already like structure or position my new what's it called, my new experience better to fit in into the. It's not like he's removing those experience, he's just trying to tailor it better for me. So that is how you can do your resume to have a very better experience and to tailor your job to that particular thing. So thank you so much, and let me start taking questions now. So that is how you tailor your resume to different role you're applying for. Let's go back to yeah. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen. Yeah, so the first question here. Have because I think I've answered your question, Ifeoma. Yes, I think I have answered this. Can you just put like primary? Yeah, yeah, I've answered this. So the next one is by Edo. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce your name well. So I have a question. Please, is CV different from portfolio? Yes. What I showed you earlier is my CV. Like I mentioned, it's just a document format that you put. But inside your CV, you still put your portfolio. That is why I always put my LinkedIn profile link to my portfolio, because there are some people they feel like just send me your CV, right? But from your CV, they should be able to see your portfolio. So portfolio is just a place where you show your workings. Let me show you how my portfolio looks like on Dribble. I will not even show you Contra. Let me show you my Dribble portfolio. Portfolio is just like you having all work in one place. This is my portfolio on Contra. On you can see it showcase all my design skills. You can see showcase all my designs that I've done. You can see like how I was able to achieve this process. I was able to do it. So this is an example of a portfolio. You can see this is one I did as well. This work is not loading this. Yeah. So it's just like a place where you put all your work. You know, you cannot be showcasing all this on. So this is another one of my portfolio on Contra. So I'm on Contra for freelance. Yeah. So this is how my portfolio looks like on Contra. So you can see it shows all these things. So that is how it looks like. That is a so there's difference between CV and portfolio. So I don't know if I answer your to your portfolio where you put all your work. So if you are being asked to submit your portfolio, can you submit your CV? No, it's total difference. They ask for your portfolio, send them your portfolio link. If they ask for your CV, send them your CV. It's fine. From your CV, they will surely get your portfolio. But from your portfolio, they might not get your CV. But if you have a personalized website portfolio, yes, there are some people that they have a personalized website that the name is just. I think I have one I designed myself the other time. So your personalized portfolio will surely have your CV. But if it's just like the one I show you on Dribble, of course, it will not contain my CV. So there's sometimes that you have to like put the two together. So another thing is, please, can I create two CV, maybe one international role and the other for Nigerian? Is it okay like that, or can I use one for any role? No, it's not okay. And you don't do one international, one Nigerian. The thing like I mentioned, make sure, yeah, you can do it that way to ease your work, right? Yes, you can do that Nigerian home that you want to do too. That doesn't mean that any role you're applying for, you will just be posting it there. No, you need to make sure any portfolio you are doing, you are tailoring it to that particular role, or else you just be getting rejection upon rejection because what you put in the portfolio is not resonating with what they are looking for. So mind you, and before you can tailor your resume, make sure that you have the experience. Check the job description yourself very well. Check it. Does it include what I have? Does it can I am I capable of doing this before you even prompt? Because they later know when you get to the interview. That's why most of people, when they even get to the interview, they will still drop. They will not get to the other stage because they already use all these AI and all of that to get their resume to their interview stage. Meanwhile, they did not check the job description very well to know whether they are even fitting or not. So please, I know I've answered your question, right? Yeah, please confirm if I've answered your question. So Gloria says, does a CV contain just one occupation, and does it mean one can have more than one CV? You can have more than one CV, yes. Does a CV contain just one occupation? Yes. No, no, it's not like contain one occupation. I mentioned I'm a product designer, but inside that my product design skill, you can see that I have other skills. That means if I see someone that wants to hire me for a email template design only, I can take it because it's part of my skills. But it's just like a T section where you have the one that will dominate and you have others. But mind you, that because it's still aligning with my design role. If I'm somebody, I have my community manager CV separate. I'm also a community manager, right? So that CV I use for a community management is different from the one I use for design. So you need to have them separate so that you shouldn't look like so when you are tailoring the role, you're tailoring it perfectly to that particular job. So yes, you can have them separate. But if you're, for example, you're a marketer, you might be a social media marketer, you might be an email marketer, but that means you have to have a single CV for them so that you can just list out those things you need. So um and also, can a CV contain more than one occupation? I think I've answered this already. It doesn't have to, it can like one occupation. No, you cannot combine, like I mentioned, I'm a product designer and I'm also a community manager. I can't combine the two together. If I combine the two together, I will not even get a single response from people. They will just be rejecting me because I'm not aligned with what they are looking for. Do you get? I need to specify, I need to be specific in my occupation. So that means if you have different skills, like different skills that are different, I don't know how to put this. If I'm also a graphic designer, I work as a graphic designer before too. So my graphic design skill, if I have experience in working with some of these companies as a graphic designer, I can add it there, right? I'll just add it there, like, okay, I was able to do this for them. Then add that graphic design into my skill set. Do you get? If I don't want to tailor it like as the major heading. So I will advise to have different CV for different occupation. So I want to add a question to okay. I just finished my VA training. I want to transition into design fully. When writing my resume, should I include VA or it will be redirecting? No, don't put your VA into it. It's a separate skills. Have a CV separate for VA, have a CV separate for graphic design, for the design aspect. Yeah. So that means inside the CV, there will be a place you insert a link to your portfolio. Yes, let me show you again. Oh, I've closed it. But I showed us earlier. Let me check if I can still go back to it. Okay, yeah, is there? No, I just want to open this. Replace the current page. Yes, just replace. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. Yeah. So it is here that you put your portfolio. Where you list out, you can see from the beginning. Yeah. So where you list out your address, your email address, and all of that, that is where you will put your link to your website. So you put the link to your website here, as you can see, so they can be able to like see it. Yeah, I hope I answered that question. Yeah. So what else again? Oh, I think you've answered my question too. All right. So that means inside the TV there'll be start. Okay. So I think I've answered all the questions. Right. So yes. we've used 1 hour 15 minutes already. And yeah, so that's just going to be the end of our session today. And I really hope we also learned a lot about CV writing. And I will be really glad if you can put it into practice and do the needful. So thank you very much for joining, and do have a great day. Bye.